What's up, and welcome to 5280 Film Room.
We're a Colorado sports podcast by fans for fans.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
You can also email us your input, questions, and ideas at 5280filmroom@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to 5280 Film Room. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Gideon.
I'm Miles.
And I'm Jordan.
And we are back at you after our month-long winter hibernation. It's been almost an entire month since we last podcasted, and a lot of exciting stuff has happened. Let's jump right into the Denver Nuggets. What's going on, gentlemen?
Just got out of the All-Star break, and tonight, Friday, February 22nd, is the first Nuggets game after the All-Star break. Right now we're leading the Mavericks, and prior to the All-Star break, we had 1-2 straight, right? After going 1-3.
Yeah, because we beat the Heat and Kings.
Yeah.
The week of the All-Star break beginning.
Sounds right.
So a little rough, but the
road trip is what got us.
Yeah.
On like a downtrend, and we were dealing with injuries. Paul Millsap missed a few games, so that was pretty difficult. But
Harris is now back after being out for
the
a week or
All-Star
two.
break is always a welcomed
Recuperation
period. Like all of the players around the league see it as like the halfway point, even though they've played more than half of the games. But here on out, the NBA across the league is going to be playing at a much higher level. And right now we're already seeing it. Isaiah Thomas, this is his second game back for the Nuggets, and he's already doubled the points and the minutes almost that he played in his first game against the Kings.
And he had a really warm welcome back to the Pepsi Center. Apparently, there was a standing ovation.
Yeah, I stood for him.
You were there?
Nice.
Of course you were there. What was that like? What was the energy?
I mean, a lot of people were, very welcoming. We're happy to have him on our team, but
even across the league,
it's more like it's kind of like when someone gets injured on the field of play. Everyone takes a knee when they get carted off or whatever.
Yeah.
Like everyone's clapping. Now this dude, he's gone through some significant hip procedures. And to anyone that understands or has ever played a game like basketball or football or soccer, your hips are extremely important into how you can be successful in each of those sports. So for him to come back and be able to provide some kind of output for the Nuggets is very, very welcoming for us. But the standing ovation was a big sign of respect for who he is as a person and as a player. And I think the Denver fans are more than happy to even have him just for 1 year if he decides to sign with another team during the offseason.
So as we look ahead to the coming weeks and games leading up to the playoffs, how do you guys feel the Nuggets are stacking up within the division?
I mean, everyone's getting healthy, which is nice. Paul Millsap is going to be required for us to make a deep playoff push.
Why is that?
He is the driving force behind our defense. Without Paul Millsap, we give up a lot of points throughout a game. Now, we're a high-scoring, we're a high-powered offense, so we can keep up with teams like the Warriors and the Rockets. I know the last time we played the Warriors, we got blown out. But we still put up like 116, 120 points that game. It's just a matter of being able to prevent the other team from scoring. And that's what Paul Millsap is extremely good at, is defense and rebounding. And without that, I don't think... Is it Mason? It's Mason. Mason Plumlee.
Yeah.
Let's get all of them confused.
One of the Plumlees.
They all look the same. They're all the same height. It's ridiculous. I don't think Mason Plumlee can necessarily shoulder a lot of the defensive responsibilities that Paul Millsap handles. on a week-to-week basis. But right now, we're still the number 2 seed in the West. I think after this game, we will still be 2 games ahead of the Thunder. Could be wrong about that.
I think we're right around there.
We're definitely over a game and a half ahead of third place. But as the playoff seeding starts to take shape, I think the Nuggets being probably in the second or third seed is most ideal. If we do get the first seed, I feel like every single team is going to want to take us down. Like, it kind of puts a target on your back because it's like, hey, it's the Nuggets, it's not the Warriors, and the Nuggets are a beatable team. And other teams know that. Like, this is what you can do, you can take them down. And I think it might get to the players' heads a little bit, like, hey, we're number 1 in the West. Like, we've got one of the youngest teams in the league, and being 22, 23 years old and being at the top, like, that's not the true top because regular season is not a championship or playoffs or anything like that. So I'd like to see the Nuggets kind of fly under the radar and hopefully snag. Like, for me, I hope we get the 3 seed. Like, the Thunder can make a surge. I don't want to.
No?
Why?
Because I think it's still a position where people are like, let's take this team down. Yeah.
Thirds, you can fly a little more under the radar.
Like, all right, like, now when you deep in the playoffs, if we have to face the Thunder, the Warriors, like, we might have to give up that home court advantage, which is extremely important. But how teams have played us when we were at the top of our conference, I don't think our teams stepped up to the plate to, like, it's like king of the hill, Like, when you become king of the hill, you have to want to, like, knock everyone off. And anyone that's challenged us, it's been very difficult for us to keep them at bay.
That's true.
Like, even if it's, like, the Kings or the Mavericks, like, these teams want to play their best against us because they know we're a top-tier team, even though the national sports columnists and stuff don't want to consider us a top-tier team.
One, as the standings are now, I mean, things are going to change. But if the Nuggets are the 2 seed, they would play the Spurs. If they're the 3, they would play the Jazz. Like, who would you guys rather have the Nuggets play?
I would much rather play the Spurs. But if we have home court in that situation, we can definitely take out the Jazz. For sure.
Okay.
But last year, the Jazz did a really good job in the playoffs. I think they went out in the first round, but they pushed it to 7 games.
Okay. Yeah, and they're
they
2.5 games.
I think so, yeah. I think the biggest thing for us, regardless of whatever team we play, is going to be the lack of experience that our team has from a player standpoint.
I think that's why having IT is going to be huge
IT
for the
and
playoffs.
Millsap are really the only 2
true veterans that understand.
that have deep playoff experience.
Millsap hasn't necessarily had deep playoff experience.
But he's more than Jokic or
Absolutely.
Murray
Anyone
or Harris.
else?
Or,
Yeah,
for sure.
besides IT.
When with how young the Nuggets are and how much depth they have, do you think that will help them in the playoffs?
Yes.
After a
As
long
long as we
season?
can keep our heads on straight. Mike Malone is a great coach and leader to make sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves. But having the youth and health, like, you need to have that conditioning to be able to make those deep pushes. And you look at LeBron James this year. Yeah, he had a groin injury and a couple bumps and bruises, but, like, the dude could have played this entire season. And he decided to sit out, 20 games now? 24 games? Mm-hmm. But now it's after the All-Star break. LeBron James, his team is just outside of the playoffs, and he's going to make a playoff push. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers do make the playoffs, because it is LeBron James.
Yeah, they're only 2.5 games out right now.
LeBron is 33, and he's understanding that as his body ages, he's not going to be able to keep up the intensity and the level of play for an entire regular season, but he can bring it during the playoffs. So he's not going to gas himself during the regular season, because then he's going to play like booty in the playoffs. So the Nuggets having such a young squad, we can push ourselves hard during the regular season, and we'll still have plenty of gas left in the tank for the playoffs. And we're super deep. We've always played our lineups as like, all right, if someone's not doing well, like who's the next man up? Who's going to be the hero of the game? We don't have necessarily like a star player that we always focus
and have
on
to
taking
cater
over.
to.
Like, Jokic is our MVP of our team for sure.
And he's just so humble. Like, he's not the player that's going to
but
throw a fit over
we're not
minutes.
relying on him to put up 30 or 40-point games.
It's definitely such a cognitive team effort, game in and game out.
Yeah. And we have 6 different players that can put up 25 or 30 points in a single game. And that's what I like about our approach is that it is a team game. And it's very much molded from Greg Popovich's Spurs. He's never had the prettiest of players as far as stat sheet stuffers or anything else, but guess what?
They play as a
Spurs
team.
have 5 championships over the last 20 years.
Yeah. It works.
That's success right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see how the season ends. So I don't know if they'll keep it up for the rest of the season as far as what they've been doing. Because when you get closer to the end of the season, that's when the pressure really starts to rise.
Like, I think,
And can they stay
especially
level?
when March hits, like you have March Madness for collegiate basketball, but then like in March, the NBA is really impressive playing by everyone across the board because you want positioning for
It's
playoffs
that final
or
push.
the teams that are out of the playoffs. They might only be 3 or 4 games back. But if you can mount, a 7-game win streak, you could go from a 10 seed to a 6 seed in a matter of a few weeks.
Yeah.
And so now is the time where the teams need to figure out what's important to them and how they want to play. Whereas you have some teams like the Cavs and the Knicks, and they're like, yeah, we're taking this year. We suck.
When do the playoffs start in the NBA?
I want to say second week of April.
Okay.
Might be the third week.
There's 14 games left after this game tonight. How do you guys see the Nuggets finishing? Like, do you think they'll stay strong and go like 10-4?
I think the next 3 games are going to be a big tell for us.
Well, what's our record at right now?
Well, it looks like the Nuggets are going to win tonight, so it's going to be 40-18.
So that puts us at 58 total games.
Yeah.
How many games are left?
14, right? Did they play
24.
Or 24?
24.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, this math doesn't
Yeah.
sound right. I was like, because like at the beginning of the season, the Nuggets were projected at, I believe, 48 wins, and that was before the season started. And I believe if you want to rewind back to our Nuggets like bold predictions before the season started, I think I said that the Nuggets were going to be 50 plus. Right
I think
now,
they're on pace for like 55, 56.
yeah, I would not be surprised if we finished with 54. Like, that's being conservative. But I would definitely like to see them, like, out of 24 games, if we can win, I would say 15 of those. That would be truly successful as far as our regular season play and positioning for the playoffs.
Because I pretty much guarantee at least a 3 seed, I would think.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Because I think the Blazers are in the 4th seed, but even there, like from us, they might be like 4 or 5 games behind. So it's going to take a lot for them to catch up. And like, if we win and they lose, like that's a full game separation. But if we both win, it's a wash. And then if no one plays and one team wins, that's just a half a game gain or loss. But I could definitely see the Nuggets definitely pushing a 60-win season at this point. I haven't looked at the remaining schedule, but the conservative side of me says, 55 wins. But the fan in me wants to say we're going to hit like 58 or 59.
It's definitely still stands true as it did a month ago, last time we podcasted, that the Nuggets are the team to watch in Denver. And I think it's exciting that this is for the first time in a long time that NBA basketball is the best sport we have in the Mile High City in terms of the future. Not just this season and the excitement that hopefully lies ahead in the playoffs, but looking ahead the next 2, 3, 4 seasons. So a lot to be excited about.
Unless the Avs can snag, 2 top 5 picks this year.
Right. And the Avs are in a bit of a precarious position
They're gonna
right now.
have one.
They were playing really, really poorly for an extended stretch of time. They now seem to be getting themselves back on track. The Colorado Avalanche have won 4 of their last 5. 2 against the Jets, tonight against the Red Wings.
Or the Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks. And then against the... was it Vegas or LA?
The Golden
was the
Knights.
other one?
The Golden Knights.
Yep, against Vegas.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, they're 4-7 since the break, but we don't need to focus on the negative.
Yeah, focus on the positive.
Focus on the
positive.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5, yeah.
Which I think they've really started to gel over the last 3 or 4 games. Because their biggest issue for a while was secondary scoring. And I was reading, I think it was the top 3 guys, Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen. They've only scored a combined, it was like 4 out of 15 total goals for the Avs in this 3-game winning streak.
Oh, wow.
So that just shows you, like, everybody else is stepping up. And that's what we've been needing. We can't just rely on those 3 guys. And it's been fun to see. Like, they've been fun to watch. They beat the Jets 7-1 a couple nights ago.
And then 4-1 last week.
4-1, yeah.
Yep.
Who's been in the goal these last few games?
Varley.
Nice.
Yeah, he's been the goaltender for the 3-game winning streak. And he's been on fire.
That's awesome.
See how long it lasts, because he's very streaky. So.
I mean, he gave, 3 goals today?
Yeah. It was on,
It's not bad, but...
No, it was on, 35 shots. So it's a pretty decent save percentage, 92% or something like that. In the previous 2 games, he gave up 1 goal, and I think it was 70, 75 shots in those 2 games combined, which is phenomenal. But then the games before that...
That's what he can be when he's good.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just trying to balance out his regular season average.
When he's locked in, he's one of the best. But there's the lack of consistency. It makes him so unreliable.
Yeah, when he loses his confidence, he just completely loses it. And he's one of the streakiest players that I've seen that the Avs have had.
So I feel like Avs fans right now are probably torn between let's keep building on this momentum we've found over the last 4 or 5 games and, make a push because they still are right in the running to sneak their way into the wild card.
Yeah, they're 1 point out, but there's a lot of teams huddled into that.
Yeah.
I think it's 6 teams within 2 points of each other.
Yeah, within 2
like
points.
That.
So they're in it, quote unquote, but it's them and a whole gaggle of teams. So do you really, really push to squeak your way into a wild card spot? Or do you push, as Gideon said, to get 2 premium picks?
Yeah, because the trade deadline, I think, is Tuesday. So I think the next few days are going to tell us what their mindset is.
For the rest of the season.
If they make a big trade or they make a couple trades
right,
that will
that's
help
saying
the
we
team.
want to win now.
Yeah. Or they might be sellers. They might be thinking, team's not good enough to win this year, so let's build up some assets and focus on next year.
I truly don't know which way they're going to go. I have no idea.
I don't know either.
No
I don't know
instinct
what would
on
be
that
It's
at all.
like we're so close to making the playoffs, but we're also equally as close to having 2 lottery picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like watching a seesaw that's just completely level.
Do we want to be successful now, or do we want to be successful 2 years from now? But when the success comes, it's going to last for 3 to 5 years,
right?
Potentially.
Potentially, there's no guarantees.
Well, the first 2 months of the season were so good. And the last 2 months were so bad. So it's like, which team are you?
Who are you? Who is this team? And I don't know if they know. And that's what makes me nervous to say, let's win now. There's a serious lack of identity when it comes to Colorado Avalanche.
And it's funny, I was preaching for them to try to trade for Tarasenko for a while, and that was because the Blues were at the bottom of the Western Conference. And now they're the 6th seed.
Uh-oh.
And they're good 10
Clawing
points
their
ahead of
way
us.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be a stretch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What would you think if we don't make any moves before Tuesday?
I would
Just
think...
keep the status
Then you
quo.
have to make a playoff push.
Yeah.
I would think that they truly don't believe that they could win the Stanley Cup this year. But if they're not trading away any players, they think they're good enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, kind of like the Nuggets are in a situation right now. Don't make any moves, get the experience, make the playoffs, go through the motions with the young guys.
Right.
And,
see what happens.
yeah.
Well, with the Nuggets, there's not very many holes, though.
Whereas with the Avs, there's a lot.
But yeah, I'm just playoff experience based comparison.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Two young teams trying to figure it out.
Because the Nuggets didn't do anything before the trade deadline.
No. I don't think they needed to.
No.
I think they're pretty set.
Do you think
where
the
they're
Avs
at.
do?
Yeah. If they want to make a push. Like if they want to
Proper push.
Proper push.
If they want to get out of the first round of the playoffs, if they even make the playoffs, I think they need to make a move.
It's a lot of ifs.
It is. And I think...
How many games do we have until then?
Oh, that's a good question. So they...
I think it's
they're 20...
38 or 39.
Yeah, I think they've played...
62.
50? Oh, 62. Okay.
So there's 20 games left.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they started
I just
sooner
had it
than the
pulled
NBA
up.
season.
And I think we're either at 61 or 62.
I believe tonight
That's
was...
That's a late trade deadline.
Yeah, tonight was game 62.
Yeah, standings. Yeah, everyone's anywhere from 60 to 62.
Yep.
So, 20 games left.
Because I think they need to get better goaltending, but goaltending is so expensive that we're not going to trade for a goalie. The defense, I think, has been solid. If they could get another scorer, that would help. So we'll see
Or just
what
keep
they do.
consistency of what the other guys are doing aside from the top three.
Right? If they can keep doing that,
But the second,
got a chance.
like that's the biggest issue is the second and third line are or have been very incapable of scoring. Whereas tonight it was mostly our second and third line that was putting up the points.
yeah.
So it's like once we find a balance where we can get 2 goals out of our first line and then a goal or 2 out of the following lines, that will put us in a great position to making a proper playoff push, as long as our goaltending stays at a high level as well.
Exactly.
The formula is just not convincing, though. Like, they haven't proven that they can execute what you just said, Gid, with any amount of consistency.
I mean, they can execute it. It just doesn't all necessarily happen in one night.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah.
Like
that's how it has to. Like, if you want to be successful and if you want to win and you want to make that push, it has to be firing on all cylinders at least enough to not stall out the way that they stalled out horribly over the last couple months. I mean, it's been rough.
Or give up 2 or 3 goal leads.
Right.
One, what Bednar has been doing over this winning streak is he's been putting all 3 of the top guys on 3 different lines. So you have one of them on the ice at all times, which boosts the other lines, which I don't know how much that actually matters, but...
Those 3 superstars together, and then everyone else just...
It kind of puts a leader
fending for
on
themselves.
Exactly.
Line.
I like that, and then it puts the responsibility on that leader on that line to pull up their teammates.
Well, they've shown all year that they can provide for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's do the entire team. You
Right.
each get your own little role, not just one superstar line.
Exactly.
And handle that responsibility and bring up those around you.
Yeah.
I think it does open it up for the other guys when you have at least one of those guys on the ice. Because you always have to pay attention to McKinnon when he's on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll open it up for Soderberg or Comfer or whoever else is on the ice. So I don't know how much of a difference that actually makes because teams play with their lines all the time. But I think from what I've noticed, that's been the biggest difference. Like the first 3 months of the season, it was those top 3 guys on the same line, and they would destroy it whenever they were out there. But then when they weren't on the ice, which is most of the game,
Then we get destroyed.
exactly.
I mean, it could just be an experiment to test the other players to see who would be willing to step up with that star player on their line.
Right. Who's going to become the 4th?
Yeah.
And then once that person
then
makes
move
themselves
some-
known,
yeah.
who's going to become the 5th? Like,
Yeah.
Right now it's the top 3 and then everyone else.
Well, Tyson Jost, he's one of our younger guys. He was supposed to be like the next Paul Stasny, like the next really good second line guy. Like he wasn't expected to be like Nathan McKinnon or anything like that. But he's been in the NHL for a couple years and like
The reliability hasn't been there.
yeah, he has not been good. But these last 3 games, he's got like 3 goals or something like that. So he's been killing it. So like he's the guy that was supposed to fill that role.
I'm also
And
might
is
be
he
growing
doing
in
that now?
I'm sure it also takes pressure off of them too, having one of those guys on their line.
Right.
Because everyone's looking at
That you're not
That one
trying to
guy.
be the star of
Yeah. you're
Line.
focusing on your game.
Yeah.
What do we need to do? What's positioning, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's worked so far. I mean, defenses adjust to that kind of stuff. So we'll see
It'd be
what
interesting
happens
to see
in the
how
future.
long it
Right.
lasts.
How long
Yeah.
it's an effective strategy from a coaching perspective.
Just wish those 3 guys had endurance to stay on the ice for the entire game. Would be solid.
Robot athletes.
Well, so far what they've got over these last few games, it's definitely looking like it's working. And what is that, 3 straight we've won now?
Yes. Yeah.
So steps in the right direction to
Yeah.
making that proper playoff push and positioning ourselves to not be bad.
Yeah, I mean, they've given up 5 goals in 3 games. If you can keep that up, you should win every game.
As long as our goaltending can stay consistent.
Varley's got the hot hand, so I think they're going to stick with him
rolling.
until
Right. For sure.
he has a
Until
bad
he
game.
gets tired.
Yeah.
Right. It's not
He's an old man,
young.
so. I just wonder if they're going to try to trade him before the deadline. Because now he's got some value.
Going into the deadline.
Exactly.
Do we, when's the next game? Sunday?
I would guess Sunday, but I'm not
let
sure.
me check.
Because Grubauer is supposed to be the goaltender of the future for the Avs. He's been kind of disappointing this year. But if you trade Varley, get some value out of him, that tells Grubauer that you're the guy.
Ooh,
This is your job.
they got back-to-back road games against the Predators. Well,
Ugh.
like they played tonight in Nashville or Chicago. Tomorrow they're going to Nashville to play the Predators.
I mean, they get what?
And
one
it's an afternoon game.
they got a game on what?
So that's a
Sunday or
quick
Monday?
turn.
Next
Monday.
game is Monday, then a day off, then Wednesday,
But you
day
said,
off
Jordan,
Friday.
you're saying the deadline's Tuesday. This upcoming Tuesday.
26th, is that Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have 2 games
Yep,
Yeah.
between the deadline.
before the deadline.
But if we beat the Predators, does that trigger the idea that we're gonna make a push? Because last time we played the Predators, we got worked.
Uh-huh.
And we always get worked by him. So
I mean, that's why, like, if we did manage to pull out a win on the road against the Predators,
At this
that would
With Varley.
be... I would hate to be in that position in the front office. I would hate going, well, crap, what do we do now? What's the right thing to do?
I mean,
Yeah.
unless there's something glaring, like a couple players sat for the Predators or something like that. I don't know.
yeah, or if like there's really 2 major trade pieces that I think the Avs have, which is Varley and Tyson Barrie. So if they traded those 2 for a pretty good score to be our number 4 guy, I mean I think that would show everybody that they're serious about making the playoffs.
Okay.
That'll
And-
definitely be a telling game tomorrow.
Well, by this point in the season, I was hoping that they would have the goaltender that they were gonna just be like, "You're the number 1 guy."
Yep.
And they've kind of stuck with Varley because we're used to him. He's been on the team for such a long time.
Right.
But he hasn't proven that he's the number 1 guy. Like, I want one of the 2 to step up. And Varley's done it, but I don't think he can keep doing it because he's so streaky. So I'd rather see him traded and Grubauer just be the guy for the rest of the season.
It takes a little bit more uncertainty as a player when you're not wondering, like, all right, how many games am I going to get this month? Is it going to be 2 or is it going to be
Right.
8?
Exactly.
Which has to mess with your confidence and the psychological side of the game.
Well, and the other side is you can't necessarily, like, goaltending is a little like pitching is
Right.
in baseball. Like, there is planning
So
for
heady,
certain batters when you're pitching. And just like in baseball, the goaltenders in hockey are definitely cognizant of what kind of shooters they'll be facing in the upcoming games. It's a little bit different. Like, obviously, the goaltenders aren't throwing the pucks to the shooters. But everyone's got a different style, and if you face a certain player more often than other players, you might know their tendencies, and that gives you a little bit of leg up on how to defend their approach.
Yeah. Well, like, in baseball, pitching is the difference in a game. In hockey, goaltending is the difference. You know, like, that's the most important player on the ice.
So much pressure.
It is.
Well, we've all been freezing to death here in Denver. The Rockies have been toasty warm in Arizona. Although I guess they've been getting some weird weather too. But spring training is officially about to kick off tomorrow. Rockies play the Diamondbacks for the first game of spring training.
Heck
They've
yeah.
been down there working as a team. Kyle Freeland had an interview on 104.3 The Fan yesterday, and he talks like he has been a professional athlete for 15 years. Like, he is such a polished professional young man. And how old is he? Like
24, 25?
Yeah,
He's
something
a
like
baby.
that.
So young. And I just got extremely excited listening to him talk about how it's been going so far with team workouts and the chemistry and how excited they are to build on the momentum of the last couple seasons.
I know. 2 years in a row making the playoffs. Rockies have never done that.
Expectations are high for them this year.
The only reason why it's like a very soft, sarcastic laugh is like, we went to the Brewers game where we got shut out.
And it was so cold.
And for me,
It was
was
so
rainy, it was
cold.
miserable, but everyone was happy because the Rockies are in the playoffs, and it's a great feeling. Rocktober is amazing. But kind of like as a joke, when you go to a Nuggets game, everyone stays standing until the Nuggets score, because there's a whole lot of scoring in basketball. So I look around at everyone, and it's raining, it's cold. I'm like, hey, no one sits until the Rockies score.
Oh.
And I'm sure all
That's
the
mean.
baseball
Pretty
fans
sure-
are looking at you like, you're at the wrong
I'm
sport.
pretty
bud."
sure I jinxed the Rockies because it
Yeah.
was 9 miserable innings of scoreless baseball. It was 1-0, right?
That was
No, it was 1-0 for a while,
And
but the
then-
Brewers
Like,
soored a few runs at the
3-0.
end.
it was good
3 or
baseball,
4.
It was.
but
It was
But
a
it's-
horrible note to go out on after such a great season, but I kind of love that because I feel like they're going to be coming back really, really hungry.
yes,
After
but
getting their asses whooped. Not whooped as in we got dominated. It was just...
Oh, they got dominated.
Ugh.
they got done. But just back to
They
the
just
whole,
didn't show up.
2 years playoffs in a row. I think 6 months out of the end of last season. As fans, we should just be happy that baseball's back.
I'm so excited
yeah.
for
And not
baseball.
necessarily worried about the Rockies putting up another 90-win season or anything like that. Let's just enjoy it while it's here. It's spring training. And
I'm excited. I disagree. I'm pushing
when it's
for
June,
a great
July,
season.
that's when we can start talking about, 100-win season.
For the Dodgers, right?
Hey!
Oh, shut your mouth.
No, the Padres.
No.
Oh, Manny.
Baseball's officially almost back.
No, the NL
By the
West is
time
going
we
to
post
be
this, it will be back.
highly competitive.
gonna be
That's what I'm most
brutal.
worried about is just our division.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And rightly so.
I think the Rockies are still the second best team in the division. Dodgers, they just always win
They're
95
going to take
games.
it. Yeah.
Padres got a little bit better. I think Manny's overrated.
They're just trying to put butts in the seats.
Exactly.
Hey, they've got to.
And
They're the only
apparently,
sports team left. They've got to do whatever they can.
well, their payroll with Manny is $110 million, which is still one of the lowest.
Yeah.
So they're going after Bryce Harper.
Oh,
too.
yeah, I'm sure they're just going to swing for the fences.
Right?
But chain.
Yeah. Which The Rockies haven't really done anything in the offseason. They signed Daniel Murphy, which he'll be a better first baseman than Ian Desmond.
Well, we've lost more players than we've
Like, I think...
By the Para.
kept or received.
Yeah. Ottavino, LeMahieu, Para...
God, hurt.
Is Cargo signed anywhere?
I don't think so.
No.
So he'll probably be a Rocky.
He'll probably,
I hope so.
For a minimum contract.
Squeaked out Arenado's arbitration.
Yeah.
The Para hurt me more than I thought it would.
Well,
He's on a minor league deal with the Giants. We couldn't have
With the
figured out a
division
minor
rival.
league deal for Para. The man dyed
Well,
his hair for us.
So I was looking at it, and I thought that dude, he looks like he's 26. And I was just looking at his stats and everything.
he's
like,
old.
he's 31.
Yeah.
So
But he's got a youthful soul.
he's coming up on the tail end of his career, and I think that opens up the door for guys like Dahl and McMahon.
You have so much. It's going to be so fun to watch them flourish in a kind of enhanced role this season.
So I think they're banking on, because they're a really young team, I think they're banking on the young players getting better. 'Cause they're definitely not better as far as, I guess, personnel.
Tried and true talent that's,
They've
been
lost
proven.
a lot more
Right.
than they've gained, so I think they're hoping like Freeland and Marquez and Dahl and all those guys will get a little bit better because they're young and they're getting older. But I don't
Do we
trust
see an
that.
additional progression for Anderson? Because
Tyler Anderson?
he finished out the season really well last year.
You look good. I've never really
Like
been a fan of him,
had
but he
an
looks
average
good.
I like
season,
him.
but his last, I want to say, 3 or 4 starts were like lights out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He showed up.
I just watching him pitch towards the end of the season while we were making that playoff push for seeding and everything. I really do think that Anderson has what it takes to, push a 20 start season and be a guy that we can heavily rely on.
When his problem, he's got really good stuff. His problem has just been trying to stay on the field.
Yeah.
Like, he's very injury prone. And if he could play a full season, I think he would be really good. Because he'll have, 10 games where he's really good, then he'll get hurt.
Or
and
he'll come back
and
like
he'll
a
have 10
4-run
really bad
inning.
games. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think it'll be, Freeland will be the number 1 starter. Marquez, I'm sure John Gray will be 3, Anderson, and then I don't know who will be the 5th starter.
TBD.
Yeah. And I hope John Gray can get his crap together.
I know.
He's probably the most talented pitcher the Rockies have.
He needs a really good sports
Kick in the
psychologist.
Yeah.
Get him out of his head where he spends all of his time. Baseball's almost back. The Broncos are looking to...
John Elway is doing John Elway things.
That's literally the best way to put it. Like, I'm at work and my phone's just blowing up and I think, it's my mom or something. No, it's Bleacher Report giving me 400 different news sources saying Broncos are going to trade for Joe Flacco.
But it's
And-
not official
And
yet.
it's not official yet. And clearly there's nothing else to talk about in terms of NFL news for all of these news sources to be going crazy. But my first thought was what? Where did that come from? And then about 10 seconds after I went, oh, well, yeah, it's pretty on brand.
At least the
Pretty
Ravens
on track
are
for what
eating
Elway does.
The Ravens are eating a big chunk of Flacco's contract, so and we only gave up a fourth round, which we had 2
Tentatively, because none of this is
year.
official yet.
Tentatively.
Would
But
you think Joe Flacco was better than Case Keenum?
yes.
Okay.
I do too.
You give up a
Even
4th
with a
round pick
bum
to
hit.
upgrade your quarterback.
But how much...
I think that's a
I'm worried
no-brainer.
about the money. So do we know
Right now-
tentatively how much of his contract the Ravens are...
The Ravens
eat?
are supposed to eat $16 million.
Okay.
And so if we keep Case Keenum,
Which we should not
we will
do.
be on the books for our 2 quarterbacks at just under $40 million. And the way I kind of justify it, maybe not, I'm not saying I'm right or anything like that, but you have teams out there paying quarterbacks $32 to $35 million a year. 1 quarterback. And they didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah,
Or
true.
they did really bad in the playoffs. It wasn't what was expected. So I think paying $40 million and having 2 quarterbacks that you can be like, hey, you're having a bad game. Send the backup in. Like,
I just don't
kind of
see...
have it like playing how the Avs are treating their goaltenders. You know, like
I wish, but
we're
no
not
one
gonna
ever
pay you
does
stupid
that
money,
in
but we're gonna pay
football.
you good money.
I
you
just
know?
don't know why. I just can't envision the Broncos keeping Case as a backup.
I hope they
I just don't see it.
But if they trade Case, that puts us on the spot to definitely
Is he tradable?
chase.
Is
I don't
he
think so.
tradable? Is
But
the
if we
question,
cut him-
Miles.
Like, if we cut him, we still have to trade up to get Drew Lock. And if we don't keep Case, like, I think you have to go get Drew Lock in the first round. And me personally, I don't think that's the right
No.
path.
No.
So
I agree.
I would say eat Case's contract. He's only on the books for 1 more year. He's a free agent next year. Don't worry
Let him
about
walk.
Don't worry about dead money or anything like that. Like, let him play, show other teams like what he's got. And then what if Joe Flacco's hip isn't
I know.
as strong as what it is? We don't want to be in the position where we have to throw in some nobody.
Kevin
and,
Hogan,
like,
you're up.
Or a rookie that may not be
ready
for the NFL scene.
and giving up an opportunity on a lights out defender that we might absolutely need.
And O-line help.
We need
We
that.
We
desperately
absolutely
need.
need that.
We need help in so many areas right now.
Well, especially with the
Ugh.
news that we're going to not be picking up the option for Brandon Marshall. It's either linebacker or cornerback, in my opinion.
And I think Shane Ray's probably going to get cut.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that given
His injury
last year's
history.
draft
Yeah.
and his injuries.
Well, the Broncos don't really need more pass rushers.
We don't.
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
It's
linebackers
one
and
middle
quarterbacks.
linebackers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of hope they trade back in the draft and build up capital for next year, and then take a quarterback next year.
Oh, that would be
'Cause they're already-
so strategic, though.
The quarterback class for next year is a lot
that
more
something you
promising
see-
than it
Yeah.
is this year.
Is that something you see Elway realistically doing, though?
No, because he traded for
That's
Flacco.
why I
Like,
said, that would be
Elway-
strategic,
He gave
though.
away one of those assets.
Elway
Why would we
thinks-
ever do something so strategic?
And traded up for Lynch.
exactly. Like, Elway seems to think we're still in that Super Bowl window.
Well,
we can
and
still do it.
I don't want to say we're in a Super Bowl window, but we're definitely in a highly competitive window
Yes.
to where it's like we're not far out from the AFC Championship.
I feel like Elway's decision process, ever since
Got
drafting
fighting
Lynch
words.
and that fell apart, I feel like his decisions have all been motivated towards somehow correcting his reputation. Not necessarily about the team, but I made this really bad decision. But if I can just make one more really great one, everyone will forget about it.
Like he's playing blackjack.
Yes!
All right, one more, but
One
this time
more.
I'm gonna double
One-
what I lost.
And it's just killing me. And I'm like, or maybe you sit back a couple hands, read the damn table, and figure out the smart strategic play instead of just trying to find a really glamorous Band-Aid to put over all the poor decisions that have gotten us into this
Hey.
current state.
I like my frozen Band-Aid. Okay, it's fantastic.
You're what?
Frozen. Was it Ella?
Oh, I was thinking I'm like, that's called an ice pack, Gideon.
No. Frozen. Like the
Let it
Disney,
go.
the Disney
Let it
Pixar
go.
package.
Yeah.
I just think we're on track to be between 5-11 and 8-8 for a while.
Oh man.
Things are looking
Do
grim.
we have back-to-back?
Says the Tom
losing
Brady
seasons?
fan.
Yeah.
You saying we have back-to-back losing seasons
I think so.
3.
in a row?
You
3 in a row.
I don't
Depending-
think
This
so.
is way early to talk about
I think,
predictions
yeah.
for the record.
It
This
is
year and
February.
next year?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl was, 2.5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of time ahead of us.
They're slightly
I
better
wish you
with
all
Joe
could
Flacco.
see Gideon's face
I feel
that
more-
he's making.
I'm gonna reduce my 13-3 from last year down to like 9-7 for this upcoming year
in February.
Well,
in February.
that means I have to reduce my 8-8 from last year to
Hey, you shush.
4-12.
Shush.
Oh, well, we have a lot of time to think about the Broncos before we go
And
to
see what actually
prediction
happens.
land. We have no idea.
Yeah.
The off-season is long.
Draft free
The
agents.
combine's coming up. Hopefully we see some standouts in the combine. But there's at least stuff to talk about in all 4 major Denver sports right now. Obviously, Nuggets and Avs most of all. Rockies are getting back into gear, and the Broncos are...
We can't talk about it.
Just there.
It's not March yet.
Talk about what?
The Broncos. Nothing's. It's not free agency.
Oh, yeah.
You can't talk about it.
Literally, it's the dead time of the year for the NFL.
We can
Wacko
talk
for
about it,
Flacco.
but we can't really talk about it. Like,
If there's Wacko
The
for
team's gonna talk
Flacco
about
t-shirts being distributed at local barbecue joints, I don't think we're the most guilty of getting ahead of things.
Is that the fan that's doing
Yes,
that?
of course it is. Anyway, we've missed you guys. Thank you for taking the time to listen after our month-long hibernation. We will be coming back at you a lot more frequently, back to usual.
more Rockies content.
Yep, for sure. Very excited to be getting to talk Rockies again. We'll obviously keep you updated on the Nuggets as they continue on their way to
Championship.
Yeah, heard it here first, folks. And hopefully, well, I don't even know what I hope for the Avs, but let's hope
Second
this
overall
game
pick.
against the Predators lets us know what on earth should happen next. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll catch you later.
Later.
Toodles.
Peace.